Whenever you're ready.
Okay. In Thailand, I would collect materials and build churches. And there was one place way out in the boonies that we went out to build a church. We built it with lumber from bomb crates. And we'd taken to the missionary's house and knocked the nails out of them. And then I found in the, what would you call it, in the trash dump, a brand new box full of the best quality steel needle nose pliers that you could get. And they refused to take them back when I took the whole box back to supply. They said, "We've already marked them off, we never saw these, just get rid of them any way you can." And I said, "Thank you very much." And I used them to barter with, and I bartered for a lot of things. One thing I did was barter with people for poles, telephone poles, because that's what they build their homes on and churches on in Thailand, because they prepare for the wet weather in which the streams come up. So we were delivering a load of plywood and poles to a place out in the boonies. I don't even know the name of it, but the little village we had to pass through was called Kumpawapi. And Kumpawapi had a little picnic place so we could stop and eat along the way. Just before there was no path, no road out there. We just had a dry creek bed. So that's what we drove on to get back out there. But in the place where we ate, we'd sit there to eat, and I guess you could call them a tribe. A lot of monkeys would gather around us. And they would come down, and the guys would feed them bananas that we bought at the shop there. And one of the guys said, "Wouldn't it be neat if we could talk to the monkeys?" And I said, "I can talk to monkeys." And they said, "No, you can't talk to monkeys. You don't really monkey talk." I said, "Yeah, I understand monkeys." And they said, "Well, say something to the monkeys." Well, Jill and I had learned a trick that worked to upset monkeys very much in the zoo, was to make the war sign to them. And so I just did this to, there's monkeys here, a couple of monkeys. I went, and immediately they began to make the same sign back to me. And then they began to chatter, and monkeys began to come out of the trees from everywhere. I didn't know there were so many monkeys in the world. But they all came down out of the trees, including a big monkey. He was bigger than all the rest. And he was making that same face, claws. And everybody, the other monkeys began to form behind him. And he knew exactly who it was that had given the war sign. And they were all marching toward me. What looked like thousands of monkeys. I don't know how many, but there was plenty of them. And they weren't taking any pacification signs from me. I said, "You know, I don't mean it. It's okay." They still kept coming. And they just kept on coming, so I started walking away, and they started following me, and I jumped over a fence, and they all climbed through the fence, so the big monkey came over, and I got in the truck that was there, and when I closed the door that sealed me off from, they got all over the truck, so then I just drove it away and drove around in a block or two. When I came back, they were all finished. They were all gone. And the guy said, "You know, what was that you did to the monkeys?" I said, "I made the war sign." And he said, "Well, too bad you didn't know the peace sign." I said, "I know the peace sign, but I wasn't about to do it." He said, "What is the peace sign?" The peace sign is you, without any pants on, turn up your rear end to them, and that supposedly makes peace. But I didn't trust them enough to do it. So that's my big monkey talk thing, and the guys just laughed about that for a long time. But I've taught it to many people, but I don't teach them to do it in the wild anymore. I make sure your monkeys are well contained, because they can get pretty violent with this war sign. And monkeys in a cage now, they'll really get upset. And I guess it's not good to do it to them, so I really kind of quit doing it. But monkeys in the cages, they'll jump up and down and they'll make a ruckus because somebody declared war and they can't fight back. That's the monkey story.